6200. With the power of Tandem HR, you are in the fast lane on Main Street with Get Down to Business with Shalom Klein, the show for business and jobs. Now, the champion of networking, the advocate of jobs, the guru of business, your host, Shalom Klein.
We are all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship and business. We talk a lot about business here. You're on with Get Down to Business, and I'm your host, Shalom Klein. Remember, you can always download podcasts from Get Down to Business on my website at shalomklein.com. And while you are there, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Shalom Klein. It's going to be a jam-packed week of content and information you will not want to miss. It's a live show. That's right. You could call us with your questions, comments, feedback, 312-642-5600, 312-642-5600. 5600, and indeed a jam-packed lineup it is. We've got four guests on our program today, and the first on the lineup is Sharokina Pazand, who is a truly successful entrepreneur, and her company has been featured in all types of media outlets, newspapers, and magazines. Her company, Citygirl Weddings and Events, is certainly an inspiration to all of us entrepreneurs. Shar, welcome to the program.
Thanks so much for having me, Shalom. It's great to be here.
Absolutely. So, Shar, behind every successful business is a successful entrepreneur, and behind every successful entrepreneur, there is a story. Tell us, how did you develop your business, and how did you get off to such a fantastic start?
Sure. So I started my business in 2009, and I was Events by Sharokina at the time, and nobody can say Sharokina, so I just told everybody to call me Shar. But, even before then, I was planning events for, cousins and friends and family and people that I knew. And they said, Shar, you're so organized. Can you help me look up, an invitation person, or, what should I be doing for this and that? And so I kind of just thought, this is really cool. I feel like I might be good at it, but, I don't know if I can make a living doing it. And then I did, I was in college. I ended up graduating, did the corporate thing for a little bit. It just wasn't for me. And I thought, you know what? Let's see if I can actually make a go at this full time. And so I gave my corporate job, I did it a little bit part time. And then at some point, I believe it was 2010, I, gave my 2 weeks, and I started my business on a full time basis.
And it's fun, cool. Shar, looking at your website, and of course we'll share it with our listeners in just a few minutes. But you are Citygirl Events, and I imagine that the Citygirl, that's you, and you're obviously helping to turn people's plans into a reality, utilizing all of those organizational skills that you've been complimented on so many times. What I found fascinating is you have a careers page, and it's very funny. Join the Citygirl team, and you actually have a position for marriage proposal coordinator. I love it, and I imagine that's aside for obviously weddings, you're also involved in corporate events, and so certainly our listeners should know a few things about your work. But let's go back to the business idea and sort of how it turned into a reality. You're an organized professional, and people complimented you. What was the first step that you took in turning this from an idea and turning it in from something that you did in your spare time to turning it into an actual business? I'm always fascinated by those initial steps. Who was the first person that you called, the first professional that you consulted with?
Actually, and thank you for all the kind words. For me, it was, I was really looking to get into the industry and kind of work for somebody else at the time, but nobody was hiring. And so I thought, you know what, I'm an Aries, I'm stubborn, I'm hard-headed, I'm just going to do this. And so I consulted, actually, the first person was my husband, and I said, this is really what I want to do. My husband, I was really, was my biggest fan. And we talked, no kids, no mortgage at the time. Let's do it. And, if it doesn't work out, then I can, go back to corporate. And if it does work out, great. My cousin, my parents, my sister, there were a lot of cheerleaders that I'm very thankful for, especially, you know what it is? It's you're going through the route and you have people that are excited, but then you have people that are like, well, are you going to make any money doing that? Or how is that? So those people can easily get into your head if you let them. What I actually did was I actually just went out and networked in the beginning. I went out and I pounded the pavement, and I went to every networking event I could. I talked to a lot of people. My biggest thought was, I don't know everything. I'm going to surround myself with people that are better than me, that have more experience than I do. And just being in their, surroundings and being a part of that energy, I think really in the early days helped me to go forward. And I think for me, it was just about getting out there. If people didn't know that I existed, there would be no way that they would call me. So going to all the networking events, putting ads online. Actually, this is a fun fact. I actually posted my very first ad, and I had been doing it for other people, but when I was going out there, posting it on Craigslist, which some people have mixed reviews about, and I got some great clients from that. And, it was just about not being arrogant and just really being open to new possibilities and opportunities and starting slow and from the, working my way up from the ground. Yeah.
Well, you've already provided so many great tips right there. I think that there's so many people that overlook some of the easy options to promote their business, to bring on clients, thinking that it's a shortcut and it just doesn't work. But clearly some of those options do indeed. And I'm curious, what is the one thing that I guess you've learned along the way? You mentioned that you've sort of started in 2009, 2010 in business. So it's been a few years now. What's the one thing that you wish you knew then that you know now, either employing people or running a business and all of the miscellaneous tasks that come along with it?
I think, sometimes as entrepreneurs, I think anxiety tends to be a really big factor because a lot of us come from the corporate background or working for other people where there's different people that have different hats that are specifically for that position. So there's a marketing person, there's an accounting person. And when you do your own business, when you start your own thing, you have to wear 20 different hats. And so sometimes I think for me, it felt like I have to be hitting the ground running, doing everything all at one time and being perfect. And what I ended up realizing was, over time and talking with people that were really there for me, you're going to get to that. So yes, you're going to work hard. You're going to work, you're going to have a lot of sleepless nights, but just take it easy, like slow but steady. You'll get there.
And it sounds like you've surrounded yourself with some really good people, which is great. So, Shar, you've got a fascinating story and a successful business, and of course, we'll share all of your contact information because businesses are constantly running events, and businesses are run by people, which constantly have things going on in their lives, weddings, social events, and all sorts of different things. But Shar, I just have to ask, what is the strangest venue or strangest event that you've been involved in during your 8-9 years in business?
Strangest event or strangest venue? I wouldn't use the word strange. Can I tell you like one of the coolest
Cool
things?
is good too.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I had a client that they're a military couple and they were so great to work with. It was at the Willis Tower. And so what they wanted was they really wanted a helicopter to hover around where, the 99th floor was. Actually, it was the 99th or 103rd. I can't remember. But what they did was we hired the helicopter with a photographer in the helicopter to go ahead and take photos of the ceremony that was happening inside. And so, it was just the coolest thing ever. We had to coordinate with the helicopter company to make sure that the helicopter got to the Willis Tower at the exact moment that we needed to get footage of, the 15 or 20-minute ceremony. And we had to get security clearance with the Willis Tower and with the helicopter company ahead of time to make sure that nobody thought there was any suspicious activity. But it was the coolest thing. And I think, at the end, guests and the couple walked up to the window and they all took photos. The photos came back really cool, but what an experience.
Amazing. That's certainly qualifies as cool, and certainly that story shows your attention to detail that no doubt your clients are bringing you on for. So once again, Shar, we appreciate you coming on the air to talk about your experience of getting started with Citygirl, wedding, social, and corporate events. Shar, I want to make sure our listeners can get a hold of you. How can they find you online and over the phone?
Absolutely. So you can check us out at citygirlevents.com. You can call us at 312-725-8321, or just send us a note, planning at Citygirl Weddings, weddings is plural.com.
Fantastic. We appreciate your time on the air. We'll be sure to check back in with you on this fantastic entrepreneurial, discovery experience that you've been having, but some fantastic tips for all of our listeners on Get Down to Business. We appreciate you joining us. Get Down to Business is powered by our good friends at Tandem HR, your solution center. You can find them online at tandemhr.com or give them a call, 630-928-0510, 630-928-0510. Check out their website, tandemhr.com, a wealth of information, a fantastic blog with all sorts of information about HR, Obamacare, and all sorts of other things that business owners need to know. But coming up after this very quick break, we've got David Rubenstein, who's going to be talking to us a little bit about his experience as a lawyer and some of the things that all business owners should be on the lookout for. That's right. We will be right back on Get Down to Business, the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. Get on my website, shalomklein.com. That's where you can download podcasts from the show. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. We'll be right back.